Welcome back. Ambassador Lisa Johnson last week announced the United States of America's $1.6 billion Namibia support to Namibia towards the fight against HIV and AIDS. The money is offered for next year under the US President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, that is PEPFAR. Now, with more details on this, I'm joined by US Ambassador to Namibia via Skype, Lisa Johnson. Ambassador Johnson, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning to you. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak with you today. It's really a pleasure to be back on Good Morning Namibia again.
It's lovely having you back too. Now, Ambassador, Namibia and the USA's bilateral relations date back to over 30 years. How would you say that how has this relationship grown stronger, over the years?
Well, earlier this year, March 21st, was not only the anniversary of Namibia's independence, 30 years in, it's also the 30th anniversary of US-Namibia bilateral relations. We have a very strong, close partnership, and it's based on the foundation really and strength comes from our shared belief in democratic principles. And we partner together so well on so many issues that are important for both our countries, from wildlife conservation to health, to education, to trade. And I'm particularly happy with, in the past years, how we've expanded trade and how well we've worked together in combating HIV/AIDS. And then the new element of our relationship, it's that new embassy campus being built in Klein-Windhoek. We just broke ground in July. That will be a 3-year project. We'll move in 2023, and it really will be the platform that we move into the future together as United States and Namibia together. But that project, it's already injecting dollars into Namibia's economy. Over the next 3 years, it will employ over 2,000 Namibians, and even now it is procuring goods and services from 50 Namibian companies to the tune of $700,000 US dollars per month. That's $11.5 million per month. We're very excited about this new project and hope you are too.
That's fantastic. Let's talk about, the significance and the importance of trade between the two countries, which you just mentioned is one of the more important aspects. And one of the highlights of this year, concerning trade between the two countries was Namibia's first beef consignment that was sent to the USA early in February. So talk to us about the significance of trade between Namibia and the USA.
Oh, for sure. Increasing trade and investment between our two countries is one of my top priorities for both of our mutual prosperity. And we were so excited to celebrate with Namibians and Meatco earlier this year when that first beef shipment headed to U.S. shores. People may not know, but Namibia has continued to ship beef to the United States all year, even during the pandemic. So Namibian beef is now reaching the largest consumer market in the world. And Namibia is the first African country to export beef to the United States. And that beef joins several other products that Namibia is already exporting to the U.S., from gin to cosmetic products to diamonds, minerals, and salt. And we want to see that list continue to grow. Even just last month, we had a brand new export. Namibian beer has reached American shores. So Americans can enjoy that high-quality Namibian beef with Namibian beer. Very excited to keep pushing this envelope forward.
That's fantastic news. Now, of recent, also the United States has announced the $1.6 billion Namibia support to Namibia towards the fight against HIV and AIDS. Talk to us about this.
Right. So just last week, we announced that the United States is increasing its PEPFAR commitment to Namibia for the next year from $81 million to $89 million US dollars. That's an increase of about 300 million Namibian dollars to about 1.6 billion Namibian dollars. And the good news is for us, the fiscal year 2021 started on October 1st. So that money is already kickstarting our HIV/AIDS programs for the next year. And the reason Namibia keeps getting more money for PEPFAR for combating HIV/AIDS year on year is because of the successes and the results that we are able to achieve with our Namibian partners with those funds. And this year, a lot of the expansion, we're doubling our investment from 10 to 20 million US dollars in the DREAMS program. That's the program that tries to keep young women, adolescent girls and young women, HIV/AIDS free. DREAMS stands for Determined, Resilient, Empowered, AIDS free, Mentored, and Safe. And this year, with that extra funding, we will be able to expand DREAMS from 5 to 9 districts and reach 3 times as many adolescent girls and young women.
Ambassador, how would you rate Namibia's progress in combating the fight against HIV and AIDS?
Well, Namibia is absolutely a global leader in combating HIV/AIDS and in nearing epidemic control. You've all heard these numbers many times before, but they bear repeating because they're so impressive. That 95% of Namibians who are HIV positive know their status. 95% of those people are on treatment, and 92% of those people are virally suppressed, which means the virus cannot be cannot be detected in their body, which means it cannot be transmitted to others. So that's why we say U equals U, undetectable equals untransmissible. And this year, we're going to be pushing those numbers even higher. The goal is to reach at least 95, 95, 95, and Namibia is nearly there.
Now, as you rightfully said, we know that HIV/AIDS has been the leading cause of death in Namibia since 1996, but its prevalence has dropped by over 70% in the last 10 years. So what more needs to be done to further curb the spread of this disease?
Well, I think there are really 3 key things that we will be working on with CDC, USAID, and our Namibian partners, NGOs and the Namibian government, and that's prevention, testing, and treatment. I mentioned prevention already. We really need to continue to work to keep adolescent girls and young women who have the highest rates of new HIV infections HIV-free, and to keep young men HIV-free as well. On testing, this year we're going to be expanding a program called recency testing, where we're able to detect how recently someone was infected. That allows us to identify the hotspots of transmission in Namibia and direct our resources to those areas and stop transmission tracks. And then third, treatment. This year, we will be working to keep over 200,000 Namibians living with HIV on their medication. And Namibia has access to the best medication available in the world, thanks to your government. We've been rolling this out over the past year, and by the end of the year, TLD, this new advanced medication, which has lower side effects, less resistance to HIV, and works much quicker to virally suppress people, will be throughout this country. So if Namibia stays on this path, working with us on prevention, testing, and treatment, Namibia is going to reach epidemic control, and really soon.
That's fantastic news. Now, Ambassador, we know that the PEPFAR program in Namibia works with the US CDC and as well as with the USAID to carry out much of the HIV work in Namibia. But can you tell us about some of the work that they do against HIV?
Well, USAID and CDC have actually been working here for 15 years as partners with the Namibian government and NGOs on the PEPFAR program. And we're not going to stop now. We're going to keep it up and continue partnering with Namibians and the Namibian government. I've mentioned a few of the programs already, specifically DREAMS, recency testing, and this new ARV medication, TLD. I think I'll just mention 2 others. One is cervical cancer program. This year, we'll really be expanding our new cervical cancer program together with the Ministry of Health and Social Services. It's a cervical cancer screening program. And the reason it's so important is that HIV-positive women have 5 to 6 times the rate of other women of developing and dying from cervical cancer. So we want all HIV-positive women, and frankly, all adult women, to go get screened. It is free, it is easy, and it is painless and quick. So please, if you do one thing this year, tell your sisters, aunties, mothers, everyone go get screened for cervical cancer. And we expect to reach over 50,000 HIV-positive women with that cervical cancer screening program this year. We're also expanding voluntary male medical circumcision to be able to reach more remote areas of countries. We want to be sure the same services are available to people throughout Namibia, no matter what region you live in, what village you live in. So we're really going to keep at all of these efforts until we reach every Namibian.
Fantastic. Ambassador, any final remarks you'd like to leave us with this morning?
Well, I think just one thing, and that's really to thank you, the media, and all of your colleagues. You play such a helpful and important role in educating the public about HIV. You are our partners in combating HIV/AIDS and getting closer and closer to epidemic control. I think the media has just done such a fabulous job of keeping the public well informed on both COVID-19 and also on HIV. So I thank you for that and encourage you to keep up the good work.
Thank you so
really,
much.
that's it for me. Thank you for having me again, and just good morning, Namibia.
Thank you. Have a lovely day, Ambassador. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
That was Ambassador Lisa Johnson, U.S. Ambassador to Namibia, joining us via Skype.